In this module, we will offer you some techniques for daily living that may help make your life with vision loss more fulfilling. Feel free to modify them to suit your purpose. Our goal is to give you pointers for navigating the unique path you are already on. Pathways to independence. Techniques of daily living. Vacuuming carpets. Before vacuuming, it is a good idea to check for things you don't want to get caught in the vacuum cleaner. Walking around barefoot, getting down on all fours, or using your long white cane or another long straight stick on the floor helps locate items that should be moved. If you are diabetic, the third way may be the best way. You'll notice when the vacuum cleaner bumps a table, chair, plant stand, or lamp pole so you can vacuum around them. As with all cleaning, it is important to use overlapping strokes so that the entire surface is covered. If the room is large, divide it into sections. When using a cleaner with a cord attached, place the cord over your shoulder to keep it behind you and out of the way. Sweeping floors. Before sweeping the floor, identify and remove stray items using one of the methods demonstrated before. Then choose an area in which to sweep. If the room is large, divide it into sections and sweep into more than one corner. Once the debris is gathered, sweep it gently into a dustpan that is flat on the floor, or suck it up with a handheld vacuum. Mopping floors. When mopping the floor, again check for stray items using the methods described earlier. Whether you choose to mop standing up or wash the floor on hands and knees using a cloth, dividing the floor into sections and using short overlapping strokes in one section at a time ensures that all areas are cleaned. Be sure to rinse the mop or cloth often to avoid spreading dirt around. Cleaning the bathroom and kitchen. When cleaning, listen for the dripping faucet, smell the towels to check for mold or mildew, touch surfaces thoroughly to find residue and to confirm that it is gone after washing. Whatever you're cleaning, the key is to be hands-on about it. Clear the area of items and use overlapping strokes or spirals. Some appliances need to be taken apart before cleaning. Use your hands to learn how they are fitted so that you will be able to replace them. After cleaning, check the area using your hands to ensure that it feels clean and goo-free. Cleaning windows and mirrors. Cleaning mirrors or windows with bare hands leaves prints, so use a soft cloth between your fingers and the surface. Spray the cleaner on the cloth so you will know how much you're getting and exactly where it is on the surface. Use overlapping vertical or horizontal strokes to clean the surface. The cloth will glide smoothly when the surface is dry. Dusting furniture. If the furniture has movable items on it, you may want to remove them and replace them after dusting. When removing the items, it is important to reach for them from the level surface of the furniture, not from above. This way, your hand will encounter the bottom of items and you are much less likely to knock them over. After removing the items, dust using strokes that will allow you to cover the entire area. Either overlapping front-to-back strokes or spiraling circular ones will generally get the job done. Making a bed. As with most things, making a bed blind isn't much different from making it sighted. There are a few alternative methods you may want to use. Finding which way is right side up for sheets can be done by feeling the hems or seams. This technique also works for most blankets and bedspreads. If you have a reversible bedspread that feels the same on both sides, the position of the tag may serve as an identifier. For example, when it's on the left side of the bed when pulled up, the solid gold side is up. When on the right, the flowered side is. Keep matching linens together. If needed, put an identifier like matching buttons on the set to keep it separate from other sets. Pinning towel or linen sets together before washing is another effective way to keep them sorted. To make sure that sheets and blankets are evenly spread and tucked in properly, use your hands to check their position relative to stable objects like the bottom of the mattress, the bed frame, and the floor. Ironing. Practice with the iron off so that you can touch what you're doing and see what it feels like to have the iron in different positions. You can follow the cord up to find the handle of the iron. Keep track of where the cord is so you don't pull the iron off onto the floor or have the cord wrinkling your work. As you're ironing, check with your free hand to confirm that you are reaching the edges of the material and you no longer have wrinkles. Managing transportation. Transportation options vary from one locale to another, but generally involve a multifaceted approach. Some forms of transportation include city and cross-country buses, senior shuttles, taxis, volunteer or hired drivers, trains, planes, etc. Managing transportation often takes planning ahead in order to work out the most efficient methods and/or route for getting where you're going. Two options to consider when you need to run lots of errands are hiring public transportation or purchasing a cart to pull behind you while walking with your long white cane. As we mentioned in the segment on grocery shopping, you can hire a driver or use a volunteer driver. Remember that you have more control when paying a driver. Whatever mode of transportation you are using, even if you are traveling with a companion, always take your cane. When walking, even if you're holding onto someone's arm, it is still your responsibility to make sure your path is clear and to check for changes in terrain like stairs or uneven ground. When traveling by plane, the best place to stow your cane is by the window seat between the fuselage and the seat. You may be asked to stow your cane elsewhere. Tell the attendant that you need your cane close by. Feel free to ask airline personnel for help in finding gates and connecting flights. Marking and operating appliances. If you have a choice, look for appliances that have definable buttons or knobs. Be sure that the function of the button doesn't change based on what other buttons you've pushed. Some appliances now talk, but again, it is necessary to be sure that all functions have verbal output and not just some functions. Some flat surfaces can be marked with beads, or a tactile border can be placed around the area to be touched or pressed. There are still thermostats with slide levers on which a rhinestone, puff paint, or a stick-on dot can be used to make a tactile mark for reference. Mark the temperature you are most comfortable with. If an appliance has a dial, placing a tactile mark on the dial itself and markings around the edges at points you usually use allows you to line up the mark on the dial with the appropriate one on the edge to set the machine non-visually. You may wish to keep a braille, large print, or recorded reference list that specified what the marks indicate within easy access. Miscellaneous skills. There are many everyday tasks about which you may have blindness-related questions. As you begin to learn non-visual ways of doing a given task, you'll most likely discover that variations of it work for other things. Keys vary in size, shape, thickness, type of teeth, and/or head. You may want to put something on them, a twist tie or rubber band, for example, for quick identification. Use your thumb or pointer finger to locate the slot in the doorknob. Then use that finger as a guide to slide your key down to the slot and insert it in the keyhole. Some keys may need to be turned over to get inserted. When plugging in appliances, hammering nails, putting in light bulbs, etc., the same basic procedure is followed. There are Braille, talking, and low vision watches as well as talking and low vision clocks to help you tell time.
12:13 a.m.
Organizing and coordinating clothing. Clothing is made of many types of fabrics in a variety of styles, so there are lots of ways you can identify your clothes non-visually. Sorting, coordinating, and laundering are much easier when you know your garments well. Consider the texture of the material, whether it's lightweight or heavy, what kind of buttons, snaps, zippers, or decoration it has. Necklines, collars, sleeve types and lengths can also be used to differentiate among items. If you have shirts, slacks, or socks that are identical except for their color, find a way to identify the different colors. You can simply use small pins in the back labels of slacks and shirts to identify colors. One pin in the label means it's black. 2 pins means it's dark red, etc. Same colored socks may be pinned together, sock sorters used, or they can be tied together. Cutting a notch out of a tag on shirts or slacks of one color may be an option. There are Braille labels and different shaped buttons you can purchase to use as an identifier also. You can also use markings or labels for accessories such as jewelry, hose, or shoes. When you get a new garment, ask someone you trust to let you know what goes together and make a list so you can refer to it for mixing and matching. You may decide that storing a complete outfit on one hanger can be useful, including jewelry if it only goes with certain clothes. To fold or hang clothes, use your fingers to find seams, tags, edges, wrinkles, etc. Eating skills. There are some specialized tools that you may find helpful. A slicing knife might be helpful in cutting roasts, for example. A liquid level indicator can be used for filling glasses and cups. But for the most part, you probably already own the utensils you will need. Gaining confidence in serving yourself may take some practice. Use a utensil to check for a clear spot on your plate. Make sure the serving bowl is next to your plate before dipping out food. Be mindful of the weight of the food on a serving utensil. Feel free to ask someone seated near you to help with serving or identifying items if necessary. With practice, even that pesky spaghetti can be eaten neatly. Use a spoon to help wind the pasta around a fork. You may also use your fork to cut the pasta. Rotate the plate and cut again in order to cut all the pasta. Large lettuce leaves, long asparagus spears, and other foods can be cut into manageable bites. You can use a piece of bread or a knife to help stabilize the food on your fork. Use a knife and fork to measure and cut bite-sized pieces. You can also use a knife or fork to determine how close the food is to the edge of your plate. You can carry a mug of hot coffee or a glass of liquid without spilling it by grasping it from above with your thumb and another finger. In this way, gravity helps you carry it level. When pouring liquids, on most occasions, discreetly putting a washed finger over the side of the glass or mug so that you will feel the heat or coldness of the liquid itself touch your finger is a good way to not overfill the receptacle. Some blind people, especially diabetics, use a liquid level indicator, a device with prongs that reach into the glass and, when touched by liquid, emit a sound or song for those times, such as serving coffee at a large social event, when using a finger, however clean, may feel inappropriate or be less efficient. If you are unsure how to cut pies, there are multi-blade cutters or wire guides with slots to cut same-sized pieces. Cakes can be cut using a template or pancake turner that you lie along the edge of the pan and cut, keeping the knife flush with the guide. You may find other ways to cut even pieces. Learning to maneuver through a buffet line with grace and ease can be done once you have accurate information and skills. For your first attempt, go at a time when you will feel at ease so that you will begin to gain confidence in the techniques you devise. Sometimes asking for assistance is necessary. Being independent doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. You can request assistance from someone in your party, or you can ask your server if an employee is available to assist you. Let the person know the best way to help you through the line. If you are looking for specific items, tell them that. Ask them to list everything on the buffet so you know the selections. If you plan to plate your own food, ask that the items be identified from back to front so you know where each item is located when you serve yourself. Keep extra napkins handy to wipe your fingers if you accidentally come into contact with stray food items or sauces. Developing these techniques takes practice. Gather a tray and plastic dishes and cups at home and balance the tray on your forearm while you practice. Use your cane when learning to carry a tray of food. Experiment with ways of balancing everything. Identifying medication. Not only are tablets and capsules different sizes and shapes, but they also differ in smell, texture, and sound. Learn the characteristics of the medications you're taking. Medicine containers themselves may be made of glass or plastic and vary in size, shape, type of lid, etc. Braille on Dymo tape or large print can be used for bottle identification. Or you can simply attach some identifying item to the bottle or lid, like a button, bead, or use a rubber band. Multi-compartment plastic boxes may have Braille on them and are useful for organizing your medications. Tongue depressors can be notched to make a measuring gauge so that syringes can be filled accurately. Insulin pens come pre-filled with enough insulin in them for several uses. The needles are to be changed after each use. Some bottles come with cups that have tactile indicators on them. Ask your pharmacist to show you which one you are to use. If medications are refrigerated, placing your fingertip at the required mark and pouring the medicine in until it touches your fingertip works well. If the liquid medication must be stored at room temperature, running hot water over your fingers immediately before measuring allows you to feel temperature contrasts. Modern technology has brought us talking thermometers blood sugar meters, and blood pressure cuffs. Even medication labels can speak with special equipment. Check with your counselor or pharmacist about this equipment. Keep a record of all medications, dosages, instructions, and reorder information using Braille, large print, or a recording. Using the telephone. To use a standard touch-tone phone without looking at it, place your index, middle, and ring fingers on the 4, 5, and 6 buttons as your home row, and reach your index finger up 1 row for the 1, down 1 row for the 7, and down 2 rows for the star. Similarly, your middle finger has responsibility for the 2, 8, and 0 in addition to the 5. And your ring finger handles 3, 6, 9, and pound. Phones generally have a tactile mark on the 5. If that mark isn't sufficient, use glue and beads or a piece of Velcro to make it more obvious to the touch. Since most phones now have buttons for functions beyond dialing numbers, you may want to go over those with someone and make note of those you wish to use. These days, phones with large, high-contrast numbers are available for use with low vision. There is also technology that can make specific types of phones talk. Since the print phone book is included in the cost of your telephone bill but is not accessible non-visually, blind people are eligible for free directory assistance. For more information, contact your counselor or your local telephone company. According to Albert Einstein, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Hopefully, with a few new skills, you will keep moving. Written by Barbara Lose. Volunteers: Andrea Chizik, Darlene Dodson, Michael Floyd, Fatosh Floyd, Becky Gottsleben, Terry Heaney, Conchita Hernandez, Cheryl Simons, Kent Taylor. Narrated by Barbara Lose. Special thanks to Chase Suites Hotel, Lincoln, Nebraska, Duncan Aviation, Lincoln, Nebraska, StarTran, Lincoln, Nebraska, Yellow Cab, Lincoln, Nebraska. Producer, Kent Taylor, Taylor Productions. Production Coordinator, Deanna Jesse, Program Specialist for Older Blind Services. Pathways to Independence, a production of Nebraska Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired. www.ncbvi.ne.gov.
Dots 3, 4, 5, and 6, the number sign. Cell 2, dots 1, 2, 4, and 5, the number 7. Cell 3, dots 1 and 5, the number 5. Cell 4, dots 2, 4, and 5, the number 0. When writing a number in a sentence, follow the last character of a number with a space, which indicates that the number is complete, and any characters that follow the space will be letters. Example, write 1 car. Cell 1, dots 3, 4, 5, and 6, the number sign. Cell 2, dot 1, the number 1. Cell 3, blank, a space. This ends the number. Cell 4, dots 1 and 4, the letter C. Cell 5, dot 1, the letter A. Cell 6, dots 1, 2, 3, and 5, the letter R. In conclusion, we hope that you will explore Braille and practice it. Written by Michael Joels. Volunteers: Barbara Lose, Brad Lose. Narrated by Shane Burrish. Producer: Kent Taylor, Taylor Productions. Production Coordinator: Deanna Jesse, Program Specialist for Older Blind Services. Pathways to Independence, a production of the Nebraska Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired, www.ncbvi.ne.gov.